Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazleton Campus. Better together. Let's get this local sports party started. Hello everyone, and thank you for watching. My name is Cara. So a while back, these guys came into the SSP TV studios to do a segment on our show FYI. They were talking about a block party and a Vitilla tournament being held by the Society of Hispanic Professionals of the Hazleton area and the Greater Hazleton Hispanic Business Association. I asked what Vitilla was, and they showed me right on the set of the girls' show. So I was sold, and I just had to get to the tournament. The Dominican Republic has turned out some of the greatest baseball players of all time, like Sammy Sosa, Albert Pujols, Pedro Martinez, and David Ortiz.
Oh yeah, it's a national pride because usually they are pride because they are in the position that they are. But if you look outside, they are common people. That shows you that if you put the effort and your heart and patience in something, you can do something big. More when you know the real history of all these guys. Because, for example, David Ortiz was almost done at the time that he go to Boston. Yeah. Most of the people don't know the struggle to go, in fit again. And that does a pride, not because he's a baseball player, it's because that shows that the human can do a lot when, they want to.
Showing pride in their culture and inviting others to share in the fun, the Society of Hispanic Professionals held a Vitilla tournament right on Wyoming Street in downtown Hazleton. Vitilla is a baseball-like game that only requires a broomstick and a water jug cap. The organizers of this event say Vitilla is probably how many of the Dominican Republic's major league greats got their start.
Yes, it's part of the Dominican culture, because usually you will find different bits of different culture in the community, and when we want to try to do is show our part. We want to do that. We do that in the past. With this small cap and this broomstick, we form very good baseball players. So we don't need a lot of resources to keep doing good, doing good things.
Here's how this works. The pitcher throws the water cap to the batter, who's holding a broomstick. If the batter hits the cap past a designated line drawn on the street and the defense doesn't grab it before it comes to rest on the ground, it's a point. That's Vitilla. Sounds easy enough, right? Well, we're just scratching the surface.
First, the rule is it's a strict game. You create the rule. Sometimes if you are losing, you change the rules. You know how is everything. But this is the ball. The Vitilla is the water cap. This is the thing that we have. There is the strike area. What you need to do is put in the strike area, like the baseball. They will count you out. But if you can hit with the broomstick, what you need to do is take the Vitilla, but when she isn't moving, if she's playing and not moving, the other equipment have, annotation. That's basically the main deal. After that, when you start to cry and fight, you change the rule. No, I don't like that. It's this kind of urban sport that you change everything when you need.
Furman Diaz is the vice president of the Society of Hispanic Professionals. He organized the Vitilla tournament, but the civil engineer was never good at the game.
No, I am very bad in sport. I am very bad. And basically it's because the sport in Dominican Republic and most of the country is a way to go out from the poverty. I was poor, poor, but not so poor, so I got another way. That's why I go to college. But it's not like as a kid, I need to, to play baseball, but I am not a fan of the sport. I understand that it's a part of the human development because you develop some skill of communication, working in team, but I am really bad.
I bet his cousin Ezekiel Estacio is good at Vitilla. I didn't really get to see him play on this day, but he did make it to Major League Baseball, where he got to pitch in the World Series for the Houston Astros.
I wasn't believe, but I forgot about my country. I never forgot about my same friend. That's what normally for me, because no matter I was make good money or be between famous people, when I come back home, I got my same family, my same friend, that's it's normal for me.
What advice would Estacio give Vitilla rookies?
No, try to hit the ball hard. Having fun. That's what we I think we get better in the art because we play for fun. We don't play like about business. In Dominican, we play for fun. And when you play for fun, it's better.
It may seem amazing that so many major leaguers could have started out playing with just a broomstick and a water bottle cap. But if you think about it, since the broomstick is so thin and so is the water bottle cap, Vitilla may be a great way for baseball players to hone their skills.
Was baseball popular before this in the Dominican, or was this kind of like feeding all these good Dominican players, or was baseball always popular?
Yeah, no, baseball always is popular, but that is something like some people say, hey, they can play baseball, but Vitilla is more difficult. You know, that is the thing. That is the thing, and that is the reason they say if you play Vitilla first, maybe you will be a good player in the future in the baseball.
That's Max Garcia, a local television personality on the Telecaribe channel. He grew up in the Dominican Republic playing Vitilla and threw out the first pitch for this tournament in Hazleton.
Did mom ever get mad because you took the broom handle or anything?
Yeah. They say, well, I give you 20 minutes, and that's it. And everybody plays faster, you know, because she needs the team to clean the house, and then that is the kind of we it's very important to save every cup of the bottle of the water for safe, because if you lose some couple of times, they go for another place, you lost, you know, the games. That's important to save the thing, and every person have one person in charge to save the cup of the water for the next play, the next game.
Garcia says you don't see as many kids playing Vitilla now in the Dominican Republic. Maybe kids are just spending more time inside, but it also may have something to do with Major League scouts spending more time in the DR and Major League players giving back to areas where they grew up.
A long time ago, they keep doing for practice, but they don't do more for because we are showing resort, because like the explosion of the Major League Baseball down there, we got a lot of academy, basically in our area.
Diaz hopes the good vibes from this tournament will continue to help unite people in the city of Hazleton, where cultures continue to combine.
And I think we got a lot of opportunity, but depends on how we the people, manage our difference and everything. As I say in your channel, we don't want to be like anyone, and I don't want that anyone be like me. We just need to try to work together in order to build a really good, country, a really good community.
Estacio plans on helping kids in Hazleton get more involved in sports. Maybe he'll be able to get a bunch of them on local baseball fields, and maybe every once in a while they'll step out into the street for some Vitilla. Coming up next, a sports story mixed with a love story. Hear the tale of Iron Man Tom and Iron Woman Krista after this break. Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazleton Campus. Better together. Welcome back to Out of Left Field. Who's your favorite sports couple of all time? David and Victoria Beckham, Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, Rocky and Adrian Balboa? Forget all of them, because you're about to meet Tom and Krista Morris. 4 years after a bicycle accident left him paralyzed from the waist down, Tom Morris biked in the Ironman 70.3 race in Benton Harbor, Michigan. That's 70.3 combined miles of running, swimming, and biking. His wife Krista did the running portion of the race, and his buddy Jason Durking swam. Using a hand cycle, Morris accomplished an incredible goal, all while raising money for a charity called Tom's Team. The seeds of this moment were planted in the soil of Harmon Geist Memorial Field in Hazleton in the late 1990s.
The coolest thing is leaving, Pennsylvania and realizing how big of a part of my life that was, because Northeast PA football it instills a lot of different things in you, and a lot of that stuff is just that, that fight, that determination, but the overall work ethic. I played on a team with there was almost 100 guys on our team. I've worked in colleges and stuff that our guys here, we have 100 guys on our team. So you got to really set yourself apart, and you really got to work your butt off to get up there and be able to play and to actually work. And playing football coming out of Northeast PA definitely instilled that, and I owe everything to that. I owe everything to high school athletics and making it's such a huge part of my life with not only the off season, the lifting, the strength conditioning, but actually getting in there and learning how to compete and learning how to deal with a little adversity and be able to overcome a lot of that stuff. And what high school athletics has done for me is just a huge deal, and more importantly, what Northeast PA football has done for me is even bigger than that.
Growing up in Northeast Pennsylvania, Morris was into mountain biking, and this girl named Krista.
So Krista and I's story itself is just incredible to me. But we grew up, I'm in Jeansville, she's in Tresco. We're roughly, I don't know what that is, a half a mile apart. We just had our 10-year anniversary, but we started dating over 27 years ago. So we've been together for a long time, and then the both of us have went out to Penn State together, and we've pretty much grown up with each other for forever and ever. So back in the day, though, we competed in a lot of different adventure races and everything as far as, just your normal little races, but these big adventure racing things, which really they'll test how well you two get along. There's no doubt about it. But it's been really, really cool to do that.
While a student at Penn State University, Morris spent time working with the strength and conditioning staff. Currently, he's the Assistant Athletic Director for Athletic Performance at Indiana University. In the Hoosier State, the former Northeast PA high school athlete started making a name for himself in the sport of Ironman racing.
I was training there for years and years, and everything was going well. And in 2012, actually 2011, I landed a bunch of sponsors, and everything kind of was falling into place. I ended up having a lot of people that were really backing me to race and stuff. So by no means a pro athlete, but in a sense, it was kind of paying back for me to go to some races and doing a lot of stuff. And I was out training. I jumped ahead a little bit, but from 2011 until when I had my accident in May of 2012, I charted thousands of miles, both running, biking, and even in the pool and stuff. And then in 2012, out training, getting ready to go for a big race over the weekend, and flipped over the handlebars. And it was an accident that I still couldn't even. It wasn't even like an epic accident. It was literally around the corner. Must have hit a rock, must have hit something, and flipped through the air, and ended up landing on my head, and that's what ended up causing my neck to break. But there's something about still being out there. I'll tell you, I would never take it back. I would love to not have the accident happen, but the days I felt when I was out on that mountain bike and out riding were just so gratifying, and just so they just made it that sense of freedom so real for me. So now it's a thing where I've always trying to still get back to, and now I'm on the hand cycle. But I don't want to jump ahead too much on that, but I spent a lot of time biking, and it just continue to keep getting better and better.
Jason Durking used to work with Morris at Indiana University, and they both competed in the Ironman 70.3 in Michigan together before Morris's injury. Durking eventually got a job at the University of Louisville and told Morris about Kentucky One Health's rehabilitation services. Durking also found Morris a place to stay while he was receiving treatment in Kentucky.
But when my injury occurred, we worked on getting down to Louisville, and then having the connections and stuff like that. Talked to a couple people, and through Jason's church, Ginny and John Hayburn, which are the people that we lived with, who are we say angels to us, because they not only opened their doors for us to live in their home, they taught us a ton, because that's a story in itself. That Ginny is in a wheelchair as well, and John is the husband, and they literally taught Krista and I how to live and how to gain that independence back and to get our lifestyles back into what they were.
Morris was also receiving a ton of support from family and friends in Hazleton and Bloomington, Indiana. Encouraging thoughts and monetary donations were flying in thanks to a Facebook page called Tom's Team.
That was the thing I didn't realize. You're kind of going through an accident, and everything that I'm viewing is just this support and this love and this feeling of overwhelming, support to make me thrive. And it wasn't until I really spent a lot of time in the rehab center that I started talking to more individuals that have, gone through this, that, they're there by themselves. They're there with maybe a parent here or there. They get a letter every once in a while, but they're doing this by themselves. And I just tried to put myself in that place and understand how much harder this would be with that. And it's completely overwhelming to me. I just can't imagine that, because there's nothing that I am compared to them, except I end up having a support system and a lot of stuff that really, really helped me to thrive. So, with us, my wife and I immediately recognized this after we told stories, and, we were just sitting there thinking of that. And we just said, even back in the day, someday we're going to be able to turn and, help others, if it's financially or, just be able to be there to pick up the phone and, when somebody has to tell you some stuff. But we definitely need to we wanted to be the people there to do that, and that's kind of where, the whole Tom's team kind of came about, being that support system and being that charity that, hopefully will help out a lot of people financially, but more importantly, create that community of help and support to help and know that people are going to be there to be there to help you and help you every step of the way.
Tom's team has a new purpose. Morris is working on raising money for others who have suffered spinal injuries. The first true fundraiser for the repurposed group was a biggie as Morris returned to Benton Harbor, Michigan for the half Ironman race.
Within the first couple days, I was in the emergency room, and it was 3 days in. I think I stayed in the emergency room for about 3 days. And I immediately was like, well, we did need to, just getting moving again and stuff. And anyway, PTs came in, and we did do a little bit, but it wasn't until I got in the rehab center that you realize how many things you don't have working for you at that point. But it was like that at that point in that first week, they showed me what a hand cycle was, and they actually sat me down. And at the time, I didn't really like it. I didn't agree with it. But they showed you a video of like all these, all these different adaptive sports. And at that point, it was just kind of like, listen, this isn't for me. I'm just going to get back and whatever. But the reality was, I knew I wanted to gain that independence back, and I wanted to get back into sport, and I wanted to get back into moving. So in that short amount of time, from seeing what kind of, adaptation or adaptive sport there are, to the reality of just being able to actually get out there in the first week and a half, getting into a hand cycle and riding. And I still have pictures with me in a neck brace and riding that hand cycle up in Indianapolis. And even at that point, I couldn't even pedal the darn thing for more than 100 yards. And it was just so cool, though, the feeling of there is a lot of hope with this, and there's just going to have to be another way of going about doing everything. So that was it. It was almost immediately like, let's get back on the horse and figure out how to make this better.
Finishing the half Ironman race together added another chapter to Tom and Krista's inspiring story.
So you guys are growing up together and dating. Were you competitive? Was there like, I'm going to race you from here to here?
We haven't lived a day in our life that hasn't been competitive. We have been competitive, and she could tell you that she used to wear these old Michael Jordans, and she always thought she was better than the guys. And she would come on the basketball court, and she wanted to play and everything. And from that ripe old age of 14, 15 years old, it was always competitive. And that's how the two of us have always kind of lived with each other. We've always been competition, but with that, it's helped us out so much because it's made each one of us better and better.
An alloy is a metal made by combining two or more metal elements. Steel is an alloy of iron with carbon and other elements. Together, this Iron Man and Iron Woman mixed with friends and family form a bond that can't be broken. That bond can also stand up to anything life can throw at it. When Out of Left Field comes right back, we'll take you to Patriot Bowl 1 between the Valley Chiefs and the Freeland Whippets. Find out why it's so much more than a football game. Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazleton Campus. Better together. Welcome back. We can learn a lot from sports. We just watched a story about an Ironman athlete named Tom Morris telling us how much high school football taught him. There's a lot of lessons to be learned, life lessons and even history lessons. Every time there's a football game at Joe LaRock Field, the Sugarloaf Fire Company ambulance is there. Like most emergency responders, they sit by quietly waiting to act if needed and hoping they're not.
One of the things is, as a nonprofit, we decided this year to we get donations from all kinds of people throughout the community. The VFW is always here. We always get back from the police departments here, and the fire and rescue is always here for every game. We decided this year that one of the things we wanted to do was give back to those folks. So we made donations to each of those organizations on behalf of the Valley Chiefs.
Along with the donations, the Valley Chiefs Youth Football Organization came up with the Patriot Bowl as a way to not only thank the emergency responders and veterans for their financial support, but also for their service to the community. League officials from the Valley Chiefs reached out to the Freeland Whippets Youth Football Organization, and they all agreed to start a new tradition. On September 11, 2016, 15 years after the terrorist attacks of 9/11, the first ever Patriot Bowl kicked off. It's game week for the Valley Chiefs Youth Football Organization. The oldest group of kids on the A-team are working on their offense. This week there's an emphasis on the playbook and the history book.
Have you guys learned about September 11th in school? Is this like something that's taught, or is it like a newer,
Yeah, I've learned it probably from second grade and up so far. And the coaches and everyone went over it with us, and I'm pretty excited for this game and hope it goes well.
How do you find out about it as a second grader? Like, do you remember being that little, and like, how do they introduce you to this?
They would show us some videos on it and how the planes crashed into it and everything, and tell us all about it, and that's pretty much what they've been doing ever since.
How do you process it? I mean, does it seem real, or is it just like something that you can't even imagine?
I just couldn't imagine. It was speechless.
Both the Valley Chiefs and the Freeland Whippets want to use the Patriot Bowl as a teaching tool.
Well, we sat the kids down and we kind of explained to them that, 15 years ago something, really bad happened, and that even though none of our participants were born yet, we still recognize that event on a yearly basis and throughout the year even. And we just went on to say how, innocent victims died tragically at the hands of terrorists. And as a result, many soldiers, men and women, had to go overseas and fight battles to help protect our country and, keep the freedoms that they enjoy active and keep our children safe.
This week, the coaches have taken on the role of history teachers, some of them offering a first-person account of what happened on 9/11.
I actually watched the towers fall from Keyport, New Jersey. Actually, Union Beach, New Jersey. I was down at the bay at the time. We heard it on the news. I was working in construction at the time, and we all went down to the beachfront, and we watched the towers fall. It was a terrible experience for us. My family, I had family that worked in the city close by. Devastating for friends, family that worked in the city. We lost friends that were in the towers at the time. Friends of mine went to the city to help out. I went to the city, dig rubble. I was there for about 2 weeks at the time, so it hit me personally.
There's another lesson for the players to take away with them. Yes, 9/11 was terrible, but the response of many Americans like Jerry Summers was incredible and inspirational. While the Patriot Bowl was being played in Sugarloaf, members of the Freeland Fire Department were helping members of the Hazleton Fire Department display a flag high above Hazleton's Fun Fest celebration. SSP TV's Lisa Sugart spoke with a few of the firefighters before the Fun Fest parade.
I think that our generations that have lived through 9/11 have to give the message to the younger generation so that they know what happened and how to be ready and prepare for the unfortunate occurrence if it does happen again. We really need to get the message out. We need to direct them so that they can be prepared, and they have to remember that we have to keep our military strong and our homeland security strong.
I believe it could happen again.
And you're not afraid to put your life on the line to be a volunteer with the fire company?
I'd give my life for the service.
Like all of the football players in this story, Freeland firefighter Greg Harkins wasn't even born when 9/11 occurred. He's part of a new generation of heroes who are getting ready to write the next chapter of American history.
Do you have any family, military, firefighters, police officers?
Not that I can remember.
Would you ever want to do any of those professions?
I've thought about it, helping people. Yeah.
So you have considered it?
Yeah.
It's a lot, man. I mean, they do. Like I asked before, does it give you a deeper appreciation for what they do?
A lot. It's pretty amazing what they do and how they help people. It has a big impact on people's lives.
Even if their team didn't win a Patriot Cup, every player walked home with something to remember.
How much do you think sports helps bring people together after things like this happen? You don't remember the wake of 9/11, but after a hurricane or something, do you see like football games, they'll take that moment of silence?
Yes, I really do think it's important. Take that moment of silence during, for those games and stuff, because it rallies, not only the teams, but the parents and supporters, and I think it's amazing.
Well, we've come to the end of another episode of Out of Left Field. I hope you enjoyed it. There's so many great local sports stories, and we'll be back with more very soon. Take it easy, everyone.